All right, so let's start this broadcast with the big breaking news that is in fact just come in, where just hours ahead of the bilateral meeting between India's Prime Minister and the American President Donald Trump was expected to sign a fresh executive order on tariffs, Donald Trump took to his social media platform Truth Social to announce that he will be signing an order on retaliatory tariffs shortly. The post reads, and I quote, "Today is the big one, reciprocal tariffs. Make America great again." Now, the official announcement has come just hours after the American president had indicated on Wednesday that he'll be signing the executive order shortly. While speaking on tariffs and keeping American interests in mind, Donald Trump had earlier called India a quote-unquote tariff king, raising concerns against India's tariff policies. The American president had said that they limit American exports to India, and therefore this is the cryptic tweet that he has put out just hours ahead of the bilateral meeting with the Indian Prime Minister. And to give us more updates on this, we're joined in this broadcast by Voice of America's correspondent Jessica Stone, who's joining us live here. Jessica, it's an interesting sort of
Mohammed, good morning.
Good morning to you, Jessica. This is evening at 6 p.m. here in New Delhi, where we are based. This, of course, is going to be an interesting day ahead as the American president and the Indian Prime Minister meet for their bilateral. But before that, setting the stage, Donald Trump has put out an interesting sort of a message where he said, today is a big one, reciprocal tariffs. What are we to read into this?
Well, Donald Trump hasn't made any secret of his obsession with tariffs and his interest in using them in bilateral relationships, and he's singled out India as a, quote, tremendous tariff maker. In addition, earlier this week, his economic advisor, Kevin Hassett, going into some detail about the nature of those tariffs and the fact that they would be coming up in conversation between Narendra Modi and Donald Trump during their bilateral meetings today. I would just add that in Trump's first term, the trade deficit between India and the United States was about half of what it is now. It's now at $46 billion. And so that is also a metric that this president uses to measure bilateral relations. And I'm sure that that will also be part of the conversation. He'll be asking India to bring down its tariffs and guaranteeing that the United States will do so in kind. The major products, though, that are likely to be impacted: pharmaceuticals, gems, oil and minerals, nuclear reactors. These are all big exports and imports, because some of these things the U.S. sends parts or India sends parts to the United States. Some things are made in each of these countries and then shipped back. So these are the nature of the kinds of goods that we anticipate to be impacted by these reciprocal tariffs, Mohammed.
Interesting. And also, Jessica, apart from tariffs, what else is to be on the agenda when the two leaders meet?
Well, we know that immigration is another major issue for this president, and he has already been given some concessions by India, of course, because Narendra Modi has said he would take back all repatriated illegal immigrants of Indian descent to this country. And so we've already seen that flight land, a U.S. military flight land in New Delhi earlier this week carrying 100 migrants. Of course, there's been a lot of uproar in India about how they were treated, but certainly tactically, New Delhi has made the move in advance even of the Trump presidency to guarantee that they would be cooperative with repatriating illegal Indian immigrants. I also think we should watch for some conversation around the port in Iran that's been sanctioned, that India has a lot of trade through, the Chabahar port. That, of course, is something that's going to impact not only trade flows, but Indian trade flows in particular, something that India runs, and that is something that India will bring up. Arms trades especially going to be brought up as well. The United States has already signaled through Donald Trump that it wants India to purchase more U.S.-made weapons, whether that's going to be drones or airplanes or nuclear reactors or engines, as we saw during the last state visit of Prime Minister Modi, remains to be seen. But we do expect to see some movement there as well.
Very interesting. And also, the Indian Prime Minister Narendra Modi and President Trump enjoy a very good rapport with each other. So what's the weather like, as the two leaders meet there, Jessica?
So I think that's a really important point to make, right? Because he is now the fourth leader to come to the White House in just the last 3 weeks of this presidency. That really signals that Donald Trump respects and wants to engage with Modi and with India, that this is the fourth economy to come to the White House for this visit. It was a very hastily put together visit. We've been tracking the details up until the minute, and the schedule has continued to change. There were business meetings that were attempted to be set up and have not been able to do so. It's very clear that New Delhi wants this visit to be about that personal relationship and rekindling that personal relationship to India's benefit, Mohammed.
Indeed. Jessica Stone, thank you very much indeed for joining us from the White House and getting us all those updates. They will, of course, come back to you as this story unfolds this evening.
Always a pleasure.
For all the latest news, download the WION app and subscribe to our YouTube channel.